Union recruitment phase, step 1 or step A is in the sequence of play is checking out the new steps on the political index. We're on the C column, so the new steps is 4/6. 4 represents the number of air units, 6 represents the number of ground units. And again, to reiterate from the beginning of the video, in case you had forgotten like I have, to place a unit on the board at full strength costs you 2. We can also use those steps to turn over units like this that are 1 step down and just use 1 step. So let's have a look at the air units. I don't think any air units took a hit. No. And no. And no. So no air units. There's no air units right now on the map that I can turn over. So I'm going to get to pick 4 from this pile here. I won't do it on camera, I'll do that afterwards. But there's the air units that I have there. Now we can go to the ground units, and I have 6 available. There's only 3 off the board right now. So if I wanted to, I could place those 3 and expend all 6. But I think my better option is going to be repairing units here. For example, there's 2 there that I can deal with. Nothing under there. Is there 1 under here? Nothing under there either. So that would be 2. That would be 3. That would be 4. Nothing up there. 5 would be here. So if I wanted, there's 4 that I could repair, and then I could use the last 2 to bring on a full unit, which is what I think I will be doing. Bringing everybody back up to their full strength seems like the best option, especially if we're going to be now walking into a rebel political, a rebel march, and then the rebel combat phase. I'd like to be as ready as possible for that phase. What were the special rules as far as those go? Other than, as stated before, using the mobile unit new steps to bring up to full strength the mobile units, and the air ones to bring up the air units, you can't kind of swap them across. There's this special option again, which is twice per game. The Union player may choose to skip steps 1, 2, and 3 and rebuild 1 destroyed unit dome instead, which we don't have any of that on the board, so we're okay. Then we would move down to part 4 here, but let's tackle this first. So I'll place the stuff on the board, and then we'll move on to step 4, where we're going to look at the mutants row on the political index. Alright, here's what we did. We took 2 new air units, 1 with a 18 attack and 1 with a 12. We can put them in any friendly settlement, which is Mechlin was one of our friendly settlements. And I chose it to put it there because, as stated previously, I really would like to try to go to the point of destroying a dome, see how that plays out. So I feel like this is my best option. They have a range of, they both have a range of 4, a defense of 8, and a movement of 8. Their attack is the only thing that's different. So that'll be helpful. Then with the ground units, brought those 2 back up to full strength. There was 2 here that I brought back up to full strength, which gave me 4, and with the last 2 I brought in a new unit. There was a couple of options. There was one that had a strength, an attack of 8, but it only had a movement of 8. I chose this one because I feel like it can do me more good because I have the movement of 12 allowance. It'll actually get me to help these guys out 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I can actually get within fighting distance of the rebel forces with that one, and at least it adds 4 instead of, I think I could only get there 2, 4, 6 because it would cost me 8, 10 to get close. So I could only get there just outside of his zone of control, and his was a 2 as well, which wouldn't allow me to even attack. Although there is all those movement phases. Anyway, that's the choice that I made. I'm going to stick with it. So the next step is checking the mutants again on the C column. So it's 3/4. And let's have a quick read of that. If the PA stage is A, skip the step. Otherwise, the Union player reads across the mutants row of the political index until he comes to the column showing the current PI stage where the row and column meet. Find a pair of numbers. The number before the slash is the number of times he must immediately roll 1 die. For each roll that is less than or equal to the number after the slash, the Union player places a mutant legion in any unoccupied waste hex anywhere on the map. Rolls greater than this number are ignored. Union side up. The Union player may at any time refuse to roll for mutant recruitment during this step. However, once he does so, he may never again recruit mutant legions, and the step is skipped forever and ever. Amen. Number of times we're going to roll the dice, 3. The magic number is 4. So if we get a 4 or less, every time we get a 4 or less, that's going to be a mutant we can put on the board. So there's once, there's twice, and there's 3 times. So we get 3 mutants that we can put on any waste hex. I believe, yeah, all the mutants are the same. 4 attack, 2 defense, 14 for movement, range a 1. So I'll just pick just a random 3. Now, where would they help us most? There's not too many close up to there. I'd really like to make these 2 spots my area of focus, but I feel like I need some help here, especially on that hex. But I don't want to expend these guys with their measly 2 defense. 2, 4, 6, that would give me a grand total of 10 defense there, if they could move in, which they can, to help out from their waste hexes. I feel like I want to add another one here. I feel like I should. Again, I just, if I don't put all of them here, I feel it's a waste to even put 1, and I sort of feel like it's a waste to just put 3 of them there. So maybe I'll distribute them down in this area over here. Maybe we'll go 1 here and 1 here. So there we go. The 3 mutant hordes or whatever are in play there. Since I've got you, let's just keep going here. If the PI stage is A, B, or C, skip this step. So we're going to skip this step, which brings us to the end of the Union recruitment phase. The next is going to be the rebel political phase. I'll read through all this, and I'll come back for the last part of this video, and we'll wrap it up. Rebel political phase. A couple of things that we're checking is rising and revolt. So rising is how many clan holds are going to rise up against the Union, which means that then we would add their particular clan hold chits to that section, and we'd be able to control it. So a rising column is 1/5, which is 1 die roll of 5 or less to see if the clan hold has risen. There's modifiers to that, as there is with everything. Let me see if I can remember this from memory. If there's a revolt hex, then we subtract 1 for each revolt hex within that clan hold. If there are mobile ground units. We add 1 for each one. We add 1 for each settlement, union-controlled settlement within that clan hold. So for example, this one we would add 1, 2, 3. We would be adding 3, plus there's 2 ground units, so we'd be adding 5, which we'd have to roll a 0 for, and it is impossible. So there was no point in doing that. There was a revolt marker here, but we already have that clan hold. There's a revolt marker here, but we already have that clan hold. There was a revolt marker here, but that is a reserve. So instead what I did, this one seemed like a safe enough bet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I didn't actually see that one. 5. There was 5 there. I had only counted 4. Either way, I didn't roll a 1 anyway, even though I missed that one. I didn't roll a 1, so there was nothing that happened. This clan hold did not rise. The next step was the revolt stage, and this was a 2/4, which is 2 die rolls of 4 or less. And now we're seeing if specific settlements have revolted. Keeping in mind the rising phase, I decided to try 2 settlements within the Can Island clan hold, even though it's already risen. Well, bummer. Anyway, it already, again, it's just playing the game and wanting to also bring these partisan units close. I did a roll for Tiu and for Diva, and both of them were successful. Again, there's modifiers such as rebel forces that are in the zone of control, basically in the area, in 1 hex away from the settlement that you're trying to turn. Modifiers such as ground units again, I believe. Sorry, let me just see here. Okay, 1 is subtracted from the die if the settlement is in a clan hold that has risen and contains 1 or more warrens that have not been destroyed. So I got to subtract 1 because there was 2 warrens that had not been destroyed within this. So that's kind of what gave me the edge. And both of those had risen. The other part that we can play within this phase is putting down a partisan chit for each of the sections that are in revolt. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 hexes that are in revolt. And that's kind of where we stand at the end of the turn. The next is the rebel combat phase again, and we just kind of get back into what we've done before. My battery is dying, so I'll take this opportunity to charge the battery, and later on, maybe it'll be tonight, maybe it'll be later this afternoon, I don't know. I'll kind of do a quick wrap up with some final thoughts about the game. One last look at the board here as I wrap up this video and kind of carry on my own here. Just about to start the Rebel March phase leading into their combat. This is what I'm finding with this game. I'm sitting at the table and I'm surveying the map and I'm thinking about things and I'm figuring out a way to navigate this new wargaming world for me. And the first thing I'll say is it makes it easy to sit and contemplate when you're looking at what I consider a beautiful map like this one. I love the colors on it. I love the layout of it. It's fantastic to look at. I don't feel overwhelmed. One of the things that I don't feel overwhelmed with is all the extra charts and notes and graphs and tables and keys and stuff. There doesn't seem to be, I've seen some war games where the extras around the side as far as tables and terrain tables and all these other things seem really overwhelming. At first it felt overwhelming, but it really doesn't at this point. It seems like there's more than enough here to help me, and plus the rule book only being, what was it, 15 pages or something like that, helps. So I'm not dealing with like a 30+ page rule book with a bunch of different charts and graphs and units that are standing by to come onto the board at certain stages of the game. Overall, I love the Ares Magazine's games. I find them great in so many ways. The variety that you get with the games so far, the ones that I've played, from things like Nightmare House all the way to this one, which is kind of what I would consider more a classic hex and counter combat simulation game, even though it is a sci-fi slant and future apocalyptic kind of world. It still is very much, to me, a war game. Love it. Really enjoy it. And I have these moments of like this complete kind of overwhelming feeling like I was having looking at the board and kind of trying to keep track of things. What I might go back and do is just double check which clan hold these units are from and just write down, because I'm finding now I'm a little confused as to where these ones came from. I think they came from Yorkan clan hold. These ones came from the Bama clan hold, and these ones were from the Kanilan clan hold, I believe. And these were from Scotia, but now I'm finding that, is that correct, or am I misremembering that? And that sort of information is obviously going to be more important the more clan holds I get to uprise and to revolt. And trying to change the situation, trying to change the strategy that like the Union troops go for, maybe trying to focus in on attacking the clan holds and their domes and their the name of the warrens, stuff like that, trying to make an impact there to try to destroy some of these outposts, so to speak, to destroy their supply, line of supply. The other thing that I'm a little confused on is these units right here. Again, I'm all of a sudden blanking on all the names. The P units there. Do the rebel forces have control of them? Are these units that kind of exist on their own? There doesn't seem to be a lot written about them specifically, so I'll have another read through the instructions and look specifically at those forces and see how they work. But overall, it's not at a point where I feel like, screw it, this game is too much for me. I'm as daunting as it is, I'm glad I kind of dove right into it. I do want to backtrack with my wargaming playing and approach some, I have a list, a short list granted, of some more introductory kind of war game scenarios that I still would like to try to backtrack, but I'm glad that I kind of just bit the bullet and dove right in. As overwhelming and as daunting as it seems, it's been really fun. So I guess in kind of a wrap up, if you do know the Ares games and you don't specifically know this one, give it a try for sure. If you don't know Ares Magazine, and this is kind of an introduction to what Ares is, this is by no means all that Ares Magazine is. Go and check out the Board Game Geek site, go and have a look on the Comic Crack page and check out some of the other videos. Stick around for more videos. I've still got 5 more magazines to play, basically. So this is going to stay on the table for as long as I can keep it on the table. I think I have a solution put in one of the leaves. My daughter sits over there, as you saw earlier, and it's far enough out of her reach range that maybe I can keep this on the table for at least tomorrow night anyway. tonight and into tomorrow afternoon. We'll see how far I get, but I kind of want to play it a little more and see how things unfold. That's it. Thanks very much for watching the Omega War, and stick around for more Aries Magazine